quickly wanted to let everybody know where Louis's case is, and I know some of you know and some of you do not. Bless you, Scott. Louis's case was most recently recommended for denial, which would push him forward towards execution. Now, the attorney has filed for an extension of time, and she has until Monday, March the 5th, to file the final paperwork. So we've been working with her. Her name is Sadaf Khan, and we've been working closely with her and to see if she can, file the paperwork that's necessary. Louis has an actual innocence claim before the courts because he is actually innocent, and his fingerprints and DNA were not on any of those murder weapons. And he does need to come home, and it's so important for us to continue to support him, because the next process is that he will go to the Fifth Circuit Court, which is in New Orleans, Louisiana. And then after that, if the Supreme Court takes the case, then he will go to the Supreme Court. But Shujaa and Clarence and the Campaign to End the Death Penalty, the Moratorium Network, the Abolition Movement, all came forward this week, and the last 3 days we have been talking to senators and state representatives about Louis's case of innocence, and that we want them to join together to help us and to force the district attorney to go back and recheck the foreign DNA and the foreign fingerprints that were lifted at the crime scene. They always knew that it belonged to another Mexican male. So we've always known that. And in our hearts, we've always known that Louis did not commit these heinous crimes and murder towards his friends and that poor child, Michelle and Cinda and Stacy. Stacy was Jade's age. They were 8 years old when this occurred. Jade not only lost her father, but she lost her friend. And that's what's so hard to understand, is that Louis not only lost his friends, but Jade lost her friends. And I'll never forget driving to Jade was 8 years old, and she would open these prison doors, and she'd slam these doors, and she was so little, and she would take her whole body and open and slam these doors to go visit her dad every single week since she was 8 years old. And we're going to bring your dad home. We're going to bring your daddy home. So I just want to say thank you to all the abolition groups, and over the past 14 years that we have fought so hard for so many people, and so many people have come home. So many people have been exonerated. It can happen to us. Thank you to the family for all your prayers and your love, and sending books and sending magazines and keeping Louis sane, because we know that so many people are not sane on death row. More than 10 people have committed suicide there, and we're not going to allow that to happen. Special thanks to my friends who have to listen to me, and Jason that has to put up with me, and Dad just going crazy over here with all of this stuff, and the filmmakers that follow us around, we call them the paparazzi. And to my friend Lee, that none of this would be possible without his help.
Tell them about what the lawyer, the federal lawyer, about Michelle.
Oh yeah, well I the attorney that we most recently had, her name is Janie Maselli, and she filed.
She's the only one that,
yeah, she was really a great attorney, and she filed the actual innocence writ based on the fact that his fingerprints were not on the murder weapons.
that's the federal
And that's in the federal courts right now, and the paperwork is due on Monday, and so we just have to keep fighting, and we cannot give up, and we've seen it done many times before, and it can happen to us. And so just wanted to let everybody know, just don't give up. Keep your head up. We have nothing to be ashamed of. We're a strong, proud family, and it's been a hell of a ride for everybody, especially for Louis's children and the grandchildren that he's never been able to hold. That's what I think bothers me the most, is that he cannot, see his children and grandchildren. But Louis is doing good. He said to tell everybody hello and to thank you for being here today. He's the one that requested the mole being served. Oh. And he has been in prayer for the last 3 days with us as we traveled around the Capitol visiting. And so just want to thank you all so much for the wonderful work that you all are doing. We had a wonderful meeting at the university the other day, and got to talk about the conditions of death row, which are horrific. So, keep sending books and magazines and letters. Louis shares with everybody, and they're like, I don't read this shit. And Louis says, well, you need to, cooking books and all this crazy stuff that we all send him. But I did want Gloria to say a few words about the work that she's done.
That's funny, cooking books, because the guy I visit says, Big Lou is the best cook on death row. So I didn't know he was getting cookbooks. Cool. I've been involved in this for a long time, and I know from personal experience you can win when you fight. If you just sit back and say, well, justice will happen, it doesn't work that way. Clarence Brandley, his case was the first case I got involved in back in the 1980s. And his family was like this family. They weren't going to give up. And his brother, Ozell, set up a committee. We met every Tuesday night for 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 5 years. And when he finally walked out, that was it. But one of the things that I'm remembering Clarence. Clarence told me, I asked him one time, what do you want to eat when you get out? He said, I want my mama's liver and onions. Well, I guess Louis is going to want some mole.
No, Louis wants crab legs.
Oh, all right. Yum, yum, yum. But when I first discovered Louis, it was because every year our group in Houston for the last 15 years has sent out holiday cards to every man and woman on death row. And every year we get a note from Louis that was so cheery and so positive. And when I see him in the visiting room, he's so positive. It's just a real testament to the support he's received from the family, that he not only maintains his sanity, but he encourages other guys on death row. So, and he cooks for them. So we're gonna get him out. We just gotta keep fighting. You can't stop. That's the only way it's gonna happen. So it's wonderful to meet all of the family.
Yesterday, at the end of our visitation with the senators, they asked us to put a letter together, and they're all going to sign off on this letter, and they are going to send it to the district attorney, Rosemary Lehmberg, and ask her to go back and test the foreign DNA and the foreign fingerprints, and to hopefully the judge, the governor, and the attorney general's office. So, as you know, Jade, sometimes we see all of this stuff on the news. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was well aware of what's going on, because it ain't over till the fat lady sings. And I know that this family is strong, and that we can stay strong. And I'll never forget the day that the priest came here and he said, you've been in this community for almost 300 years. You have strong roots. You're going to have storms, but we're going to make it. We're going to stay strong and stick it out and hopefully.
We also have a new law on our side.
Yes. Would you talk about that, Gloria?
Last legislative session, Rodney Ellis, who does a lot of good criminal justice work, filed a bill to require the courts to test DNA when it's available. Well, this is a perfect case because there is DNA available. It's not identified. So we're going to tell them, that's the law. You guys need to follow the law. Do what the law says and test the DNA. Yeah. And then we'll get Louis.
And vote for Charlie Baird.
Yes.
Yes.
I just want to say I'm going to move on to the next battlefield. Thanks, everyone. Keep the faith, and bye.
Thank you, Shujaa. Bye-bye, guys. Have a safe trip.